India's first company that enslaved the country is now selling tea and coffee. It's a strange irony. The company that looted India, enslaved it, and ruled for hundreds of years, today that very company is selling chocolate online. Just think, the one that once took over India with guns and armies is now running tea and coffee sales on an e-commerce site. But what's even more shocking is that the company is no longer owned by the British, but by an Indian-origin businessman, Sanjiv Mehta. Do you know which was India's first company? How it built an empire under the guise of trade, and how now, once again, an Indian has bought it and is trying to rewrite its history. Today, we'll dive deep into this topic. But before that, if you are new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe so that you get every update of our latest videos first. So let's begin today's discussion without any further delay. Let us tell you that today, over 2.8 million companies are registered in India. Every year, thousands of new companies are launched. Many of them become startups. Some turn into unicorns, some succeed, and some fail. But amid all this, one question still stands: what was India's first company? And where is that company now? What is it doing? This question isn't just a matter of historical curiosity, it's crucial to understand how the foundation of Indian commerce was laid and how a foreign company captured it and exploited it for centuries. Today, when we talk about an Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India, it becomes necessary to turn back to that very first page. The answer takes us 400 years back into the pages of history. On the night of 31st December 1600, a group of merchants in London signed an ambitious agreement. This agreement was for a company named the East India Company. The name may have sounded simple, but the intentions were far-reaching. The company was granted exclusive trading rights by the British monarch, but this trade wasn't limited to business transactions. It included the right to wage war, to maintain its own army, and even to seize sovereign territories. In short, it wasn't just a company, it was an entire governing system that could take over any country in the name of trade. And its biggest laboratory became India. The East India Company was a unique example where commerce, diplomacy, and military power merged into a single institution. It was the root of modern global corporations, but with imperialistic ambitions behind it, which gradually tightened their grip on India in the form of colonial rule. While other European nations were filling their treasuries with India's spices, Britain also chose its path. The Portuguese had already shown the route to India through Vasco da Gama. The demand for Indian spices grew so intensely in Europe that the entire continent was enchanted by their aroma. The East India Company quickly realized that if it wanted to control this trade, it would have to control India. In this race for spices, the company adopted an ambitious vision, not just to trade, but to rule. The company's first success began with an act of piracy. They looted a Portuguese ship and seized 900 tons of spices. The profit from selling these spices was a staggering 300%. Imagine, a company formed with investor money now called Plunderer Trade and even shared that loot as returns to its investors. That was the moment greed overtook policy, and the company decided its true goal was not just commerce, but total control. In 1613, the company established its first factory in India, in Surat, with permission from the Mughal Emperor Jahangir. It was a diplomatic move. The doors were opened peacefully so that war could be brought in quietly. Then came Calcutta, Bombay, Madras. Gradually, trading posts turned into military bases. The language of trade was now spoken through swords. This was the time when India was slowly transitioning from a commercial colony to full political subjugation, and it was all being run by a company. The East India Company got its biggest shock and lesson from the French company des Indes. But the real turning point came in 1764, at the Battle of Buxar. This battle gave the company political control so strong that it gradually took over all of India. It was no longer just a company, it had become the company Raj. From tax collection and law enforcement to military operations, everything was handled by the company. It had gripped India completely, from commerce to governance. This rule continued until 1857. That year, a rebellion erupted that set the entire country ablaze. People took to the streets against the brutality of the British East India Company. But the outcome of the revolt was that the British Crown stripped the company of its rule, and the British government began ruling India directly. This single event marked the end of company rule and the beginning of the British Raj in India. But the legacy the company left behind was not just political, it was filled with deep economic and social scars. From this point on, the political era of the East India Company ended. It began to fade into history. And when the British Empire itself ended, the memory of the company nearly vanished. People began to see it as just another cruel chapter of the past. But what few people know is that the brand East India Company was once a global symbol of power. And its shadow, in some form, still lingers in the world of commerce today. In 2010, an Indian businessman, Sanjiv Mehta, set out to rewrite history. He purchased the name, brand, and trademark of the East India Company for $15 million. Now, this company no longer belonged to any government or military. It was owned by an Indian. The same India that had once been enslaved by this very company now held its reins in Indian hands. This was more than just business, it was symbolic justice, a historic moment where the once oppressed claimed the legacy of the oppressor. Sanjiv Mehta transformed it into an e-commerce platform. Today, the company sells tea, coffee, chocolate, and luxury food products. In other words, the company that once sold off a nation now sells tea. A symbolic moment, the greatest rewrite of history. Now, speaking of India's oldest domestic company, that title goes to the Wadia Group. It was founded in 1736 by 𝐟𝐨𝐥𝐿𝐵 Wadia. This company also thrived during British rule, but unlike the East India Company, the Wadia Group contributed to India by building ships, docks, and infrastructure. Bombay Burma Trading Corporation Limited, a subsidiary of the Wadia Group, established in 1863, is still India's oldest publicly listed company. In essence, as the East India Company was fading out, homegrown Indian business groups were beginning to rise.
Has taught you something new. Do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources, news from various news agencies, opinion polls and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.